We are live, as Maya says.
This is Literary Roadhouse, one short story once a week. I'm Remy.
Maya.
Oh, it's me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just say it and I'll just splice it in seamlessly. Like
I'm
pro.
Maya.
I'm Gerald.
And I'm Anais.
This week's story is called The Looking Glass by Anton Chekhov. And spoiler alert, in case anyone hasn't read it yet, you should go read it before I spoil it for you, because it's so suspenseful. Being sarcastic if you can't pick up on the tone of my voice. So anyway, the story is about a young woman, and she is in her room staring into a looking glass, or as we call it today, a mirror. And she fantasizes about her future life, and it gets a little dramatic because she
Does?
then this is it was kind of dramatic.
Yeah.
All right, I'm getting interrupted. I can't. It's dramatic. It's she goes through a series of events where she's trying to save her husband, who fell ill, and she believes that he has succumbed to typhus. And this was set, I think, sometime in the 19th century. So that was still a big deal. And it could be potentially fatal. So she goes to the nearest doctor. She has a hard time getting him out of his bed because it's pretty late at night. But after a lot of begging and coaxing, she finally manages to get the doctor up and out. And they go in their carriage back to her place. When they arrive, though, the doctor kind of just lays back down and he becomes as delirious as her husband. And then the woman then panics and then starts thinking maybe she should go to another doctor close by. And then basically she hears something fall on the ground that her hand knocks over, and she realizes that it was all a dream.
Harry, I think Rami's summary is probably longer than the story.
I was thinking the same thing.
I was
What about
too.
the interruption?
No
We were
disrespect.
all thinking it.
No
I
disrespect.
love that it gets a little dramatic.
Only a
What
little.
about that is inaccurate? There was some...
No.
But the way you said it was so perfect and wonderful, Remy. That's why we love you.
Yeah.
Okay, top level. As everyone can hear, I am on the streets of New Orleans, so pardon the traffic and occasional music and outbursts. But how did you guys all feel about this story on a top level?
I'll start off by saying that I think it was all right, we'll talk about it in more detail later, but I'll tell you like the process of my selection here, because I think there must have been some psychology involved.
Oh, God. Okay.
Okay, well, my top level is hard pass. Right.
What's that mean?
I found it boring and disappointing.
Yeah.
I sort of liked it, and then I was exceptionally disappointed by the ending.
I would say a little bit like with what Gerald is saying. At first, when it's like setting up the whole thing of, oh, and here's this girl who's dreaming about a husband. And I thought it was going to be one of those like, be careful what you wish for type of things, where it's like the harsh realities of marriage. No, it's the harsh reality of like, and then we die. Like, that's not really, you know what I'm saying? I think it was that was sort of the be careful what you wish for message there. She really wants to get married, but in the end, he's going to die. Okay. Like that was what really, I think, grated my nerves.
What grated my nerves is there was no entry point for me to feel emotionally involved or invested in the story. As I was reading it, I felt like it was something being told at me from a distance, behind a wall, by somebody I didn't know. And at no point did I feel interested in the character. Did I feel interested in any of the other characters? Did I feel her disappointment? Nothing. Now, I'm wondering how much of this is the fact that the story just doesn't age well, and how much of this is the story's fault.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything to do with age, because we've read old stories before and enjoyed them and enjoyed them far more than this. So it's just in a way it's almost over dramatic, and she comes across as being, you know, spiteful, and you know, poor doctor's got typhus and he's on his deathbed, but she said, no, you got to come, and it's, you know, I got no feelings for her at all. Yeah, but it was. I mean, it paints a very bleak picture. Let's find something positive. It paints a very bleak picture. I think it deals with her desperation to find, you know, gets help for her husband. I think it does that very well. There you go. That's it.
This is what, Victorian era? It felt like Victorian era.
Yeah, I think it is. Chekhov is.
Okay, so I'm thinking, in context, in its time, a woman's place, like when her husband died, what would she have left? You know, you've got husband, you've got kids, you don't have a career, you probably don't get out of the house a whole lot. It'd be almost like those situations in India where when you become a widow, it's like your whole life kind of just ends. And so I feel like there's an emotional stake in place that I'm too modern to actually feel the full impact of.
Well, I kind of empathized with the woman in her desperation, because, you know, it's your partner, your spouse. You try to do everything you can to save them, and yeah, I think it's understandable to overlook other people's condition in your kind of tunnel vision and mission of just trying to do whatever you can to help them out. And I think I actually didn't realize this until Anais and others kind of pointed this out, but yeah, maybe it's kind of painting a more realistic picture of what a married life at the time might be like for the average young girl who does fantasize that it's this very dreamy and like prince and princess type of life that they will lead. But you know, there are a lot of harsh realities to consider.
And I tried to take that perspective when she got annoying and rude and I wanted to throw her off a cliff. But putting myself in her shoes, my husband is dying of typhoid. I go see the doctor. He's dying of typhoid. Am I going to say? Well, he said I got it too. He said I got it too.
No. Okay. He didn't. He said he was seeing patients with typhus as well.
And I've gotten sick too. He says that in the story.
Typhus, but not from typhus.
Let me tell you. He's been seeing people with typhoid. He says I'm sick too. That means he's sick with typhoid. I'm getting the hell out of that room. The point is, if I was her, I wouldn't have been there trying to drag a sick man to help my sick husband. I would have gotten the hell out of there because I'm going to get sick. The guy's got typhoid.
No, I don't think the doctor did. Like, go back and reread.
Okay, I'm going to look it up because I know for a fact he did.
For the last 3 days, I've been away seeing typhus patients. I'm exhausted and ill myself. He's exhausted from seeing patients for the last 3 days.
You know what? You're putting in nuance that isn't there.
No, because he would have said, I also contracted.
Honestly, I'm going to bang the gavel here.
That just doesn't sound like Chekhov.
Banging the gavel. Honestly, here's 2 things. One, from my recollection, it says Maya says he has typhus, but it doesn't matter because whether he has typhus or not, it doesn't change the story. It doesn't make the story better just because you know what he did or didn't have. I don't think it really changes. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't change her helplessness.
Would you stay in that room? Your husband's got something that's highly contagious that's killing him.
Yeah, but this was before Yeah, but this was before people really understood germs and hygiene. So I feel like
they understood enough to kick corpses out of the house, and you know they were just starting to wash their hands and stuff.
But they still did bloodletting, and you know it was like humors. I'm just saying that medical science wasn't very advanced at the time.
I think we're not giving medical science enough credit.
You're so overcome with emotion that you don't really take these things into consideration. Your sole goal is to
save my husband, and this doctor obviously isn't capable of it. I would have hightailed my butt out of there and to the next doctor. I would have been like, "Oh, it's another 20 miles. It's too far. My husband's dying. Ride another 20 miles."
And the reason we think that he has typhus too is because later on, the story says, and to her horror, Nellie saw that the doctor was as delirious as her husband. Mm-hmm. So you sort of assume that he's got the same thing as a husband has from that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I will say that Chekhov tries to be generous with her insistence the doctor has to come. Like, he'll write stuff like, you need to understand she's out of her mind with worry and she doesn't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. Like, he does try to be generous about that. But it's just, so Rami was saying earlier that, this conversation made him realize it's a little bit about the harsh realities of marriage, except it's not, because the marriage is perfect. Like, when he glosses over the marriage, it's like, and they had like a great life and it was great. And then he got sick and died. I'm like,
yeah, but
so you don't get married because people die?
Sick and having scarlet fever and having bad grades, which I thought was a wonderful little detail, that was a stressor.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah.
I suppose that he is showing that a young girl's dreams of marriage and being the princess and all that sort of stuff that can have an ulterior reality which is darker and more unpleasant than she might imagine.
Yeah, but again, he doesn't show that it's unpleasant, really. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit like, but if your marriage with this guy was great, according to the glossy section, and then he dies really unfortunately, do you regret the marriage? Does that mean that you shouldn't have gotten married? Like, that's the point that was lost for me. Like, it seemed like a weird thing to make everything be perfect up until that point. And then afterwards, she's like, oh, that's right. And then, like, other people die, like your kids could die. And maybe it's not so great. But that wasn't actually depicted in the dream. In the dream, it was like a blissful marriage.
To me, I didn't see the marriage as being protected, as being, wow, that vodka was fast. I didn't see... I didn't see the marriage as being portrayed as perfect, because there's a whole paragraph where she describes having children and 1 out of 6 is going to die, and you've got to deal with scarlet fever and all these things that just, are part of life. I didn't see it as perfect. I saw this as an early feminist tale, is what I saw it as. This idea that, you raise a girl and her only dream is to get married. She has nothing else on her mind, but marriage is difficult. So maybe you should have something else on your mind too. That's kind of what I took away from the story. That might be my modern perspective on it, but I saw it as like a precursor to a lot of Victorian early feminist tales.
I want to correct myself. So I actually did find the doctor says that, yeah, he did catch it himself. So the doctor also had typhus. But that I would also maintain that in the moment, you're not necessarily rational.
Yes, but she should be. That's the point. To me, she should be. Because now, like, she's in a house with 2 people with typhus coughing all over her.
She should be, but it's understandable in the situation.
It is understandable, but I think the fact that she isn't is part of the tale. I think that's part of the message of the story. It's just a very clumsy message. What did you guys take away from the story? Did you guys take away a message from the story?
No.
I found
Anna
it through
shakes her
this
head no.
conversation.
Sorry, Rami?
I found it through this conversation. Like, initially, no, but now when I think about it, it's just kind of, like I mentioned before, just taking a realistic view of what having a family at the time could potentially be like. And not necessarily doing it to dissuade people from getting married, but just painting a more realistic picture than the fairy tale that might be on girls' minds at the time.
Yeah.
But but no. I'm still shaking my head because, like, no. Like, that's the meaning that we're sort of... It's almost like that's the meaning that it's like, I know he's trying to get to, but he doesn't actually deliver. That's what's frustrating for me.
Is that because of the writing, or is that because of the time period?
Or the length?
No, I don't think it's necessarily just a length issue. I mean, the fact it's short does work against him, but it just because I looked up that part where it glosses over the marriage. It doesn't actually talk about the marriage. It says, then she heard his voice, saw herself living under the same roof with him. Her life merged into his. Months and years flew by against the gray background, and Nellie saw her future distinctly in all its details. And then it's like picture follow picture against the gray background, and then he's sick. So it just, like there's no, it doesn't have that like Christmas story where like, come and see your future life if you make this decision. And, it doesn't have that aspect to it at all. And also, I don't know if this is the writing or the translation, but I thought the prose was pretty like clunky in places, and I don't know if it's a bad translation or what's going on.
It was just clunky. I felt the same way, Annie. Reading this story, I was frustrated because I had really high expectations for Chekhov. I've read, a longer work from him like as a middle schooler, and I don't really remember it. And I've always wanted to go back and read something by him because he's vaulted as like the master of the short story. It's like this literary great. And I feel really disappointed that this was my entrance into his writing. I think I need another longer story by Chekhov as a palate cleanser.
Yeah, I read Three Sisters and I loved it. Like his longer works, his plays are great.
Yeah. And that's frustrating. I want to feel more about the story than I necessarily do because I understand what a great he is. But I'm just not seeing it there.
Yeah, it's almost like a picture book. I think that this happens, then you turn a page, and then this happens, and this happens. It's little scenes, little sort of exposés of what's going on. There's no sort of deeper understanding or deeper message, or apart from this is real life, it can be like this, rather than you think it might be. But it's. I think the writing was okay. I didn't mind it, but it was very, very simple and very superficial.
Yeah. And going back to the question, if it's like
essays,
and going back to the question of like, marriage isn't what you expect. So after.
No, Anais is frozen.
Am I the only one losing people?
No, Anais
like
is
people
frozen.
coming in and out. Okay.
She's frozen for me too.
Just as she was about to make a great point.
Yeah.
Well, I can't see anybody. I'm going to refresh. So if I disappear, just keep talking.
Yeah, Anais was going to suddenly release the inner meaning of the whole story, and we'd all go, that's what it was. That's exactly what it is. You see, and they were complaining earlier because we weren't, we were a little bit late and holding things up, and yet here's the guys.
Okay. We're more patient.
I wasn't complaining. I was glad you guys were late because I got to eat my amazing food and drink more vodka.
Will you stop talking about your amazing food and your vodka drink? You shouldn't be drinking at breakfast time. That's very bad.
The husband.
Hey, it's noon. It's now 1 o'clock.
Oh, is it? Okay. We'll let you off.
Yes, it's New Orleans time.
Okay.
Yeah, I got on the bus at like 10 and there was somebody already plastered. I was like, really? Really?
Yeah.
It's not even noon yet.
I do, because I live on the coast and we have sort of seaside resorts here. I sometimes cycle past the pubs that do breakfast, and people are having breakfast at 9 in the morning, which is something I've not ever done.
Alright, if we're still waiting, I'm gonna be right back.
Okay.
So you've never had a gin fizz for breakfast, Gerald?
No.
You guys invented them.
Really? Did we? I don't know. I don't think I've
I'm
ever
pretty
had
sure you guys invented the gin fizz. It's like the most amazing breakfast drink on the planet.
Really?
Yes, it's so delicious. It's kind of a pain in the butt to make, but it is a delicious drink. You need to go have one. I've given you permission. I've ordered you.
Wow.
When your wife says, "How come you're drinking at 8 o'clock in the morning?" say, "It was homework."
So we've gone from I should have one, gave me permission, and then you're giving me an instruction. That escalated quickly.
They're really good.
Okay.
Especially if they're made with good gin. It's like gin and milk, and they're fizzy, and there's other stuff in them, and they're just delicious.
Milk.
Orange juice, milk. Yep.
Milk.
Yep.
Like
yes, they're a breakfast drink.
From a cow. What?
Yes, moo.
That's insane.
And you shake it for a really long time. Like, it takes forever to make one. When you ask a bartender to make you a gin fizz, they kind of silently hate you for a moment. And then when they pour it, it's like it bubbles up like a volcano out of your glass.
Wow.
And you
pretty awesome.
And her Wi-Fi is down, but it should be back soon.
Okay. Yes, booze for breakfast. I've never heard of a tequila smoothie, but a gin fizz is kind of the UK equivalent of a tequila smoothie, I think.
No,
my God, tequila, tangerine, banana blend well. That just sounds dangerous.
Wow. Well, we should do a breakfast podcast.
All right, her Wi-Fi is back.
Okay, she's back. Good.
If you want to drink Slack, I'll quit. Yeah, I think we should
finished my drink. I'm sad. It was really yummy. I want another one.
You can have one after we finish the podcast. Just wait a little while.
No, I can't have one after we finish the podcast because I'm not a 3-drink person. I have a 2-drink limit.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of those lightweight people. I'm a very cheap date. What, that I'm a lightweight or that somebody's a cheap date? Do I really want to know the answer to that question?
No.
I'm not sure I want to know that much about you, Gerald.
Let's do that. We should probably when Anais comes out, we should probably move on to rating it because we've gone over.
Yeah, we're gonna run up on Remy. We're not gonna have a quiz. It's gonna be sad.
No, I'll stay for the quiz no matter what.
Is the quiz that awesome?
It's not. I
awesome
mixed
quizzes.
it up, so there's a little bit of everything.
Ooh.
I enjoy your quizzes.
Thanks.
So it's a cocktail quiz then. A little bit of everything.
In other words, it's a tequila sunrise. It's a Long Island iced tea. That's literally what a Long Island iced tea is. It's like a little bit of everything at the bar.
Really?
It's kind of gross. A splash of Coke.
I think I've had one, but I think I've had one after I've had other things and probably don't remember a lot.
Yeah, you probably didn't taste it at that point. But usually it's got like tequila, vodka, rum, whiskey. Wow. Like literally, it's the front well. It's everything across the top. And it's gross.
Oh.
But they're not gross if you've already had a couple.
Yeah. Yep. Same to you, buddy.
Made according to the Punch poem. I love it. Hey, girly, you're back. Where were you?
Oh, no, she's gone. What the hell? This is interesting.
Yeah, that's about right, Gabriel. When you set up a bar, when you're working in a bar, the front well pretty much is that. And so when you're making a Long Island iced tea, you pull some from all of that front row minus one bottle. And I can never remember which bottle it is, but it's pretty much all the front row except for one bottle. And then a splash of Coke.
Okay.
Okay. You
You're
don't want to
bad.
hear my. Yeah, you do not want to hear my bad news.
No.
What?
Like my computer had like a moment and Audacity crashed and I lost the first part of the recording, couldn't recover it. But I turned on the recorder again. Yeah. Bad news, everyone. Woo.
That is bad news because of all the over talking and absolute mayhem from the first half of the show. That's not going to be fun. It's not a clean blab recording.
It's not. But you know what? I didn't say anything that important. This is my moment. So I'm recording
but there were
again.
times when, at the beginning, when you had me redo the intro, it was over the top of somebody else talking.
Oh, but I have your track, so I'll be able to cut you in for your intro.
Okay.
I got this.
Okay, you got
Or I'll just re-record my intro.
I trust you, Eddie, because you are Superwoman. You're everyone.
I'll listen to the blab again and I'll re-record everything I said separately and then die. Okay, so it'll be great.
Come on, guys. Come on, focus.
Okay, my insight.
Yes.
I got it.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Maya was like, I was like, hey, the marriage went fine. And then so that was annoying to me. And then Maya said, no. Because then later she's talking about how the kids are going to get bad grades and they're going to die and this and that. But the problem with that is it's still not a mark against marriage. Having a mortgage or having kids who disappoint you doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad marriage. There's people with great fulfilling marriages who are still going to suffer through that and not regret the marriage. So I feel like it still wasn't actually delivering for me a sort of cautionary tale against be careful what you wish for. Marriage isn't everything it's chalked up to be, because the marriage can still be great and your kids disappoint you, you know?
Well, maybe that wasn't the point of the story. Maybe the point of the story is, don't single-mindedly dream of a perfect future because life is life. Maybe the point of the story isn't specific to marriage, but it is specific to the idea of dreaming of a perfect existence.
Yeah. Maybe that then is my modern brain coming in, because I feel like since we communicate so much more, there's so much media out there to consume. I'm like, if that's your point, there might have been a time where that point was noteworthy.
The story probably not aging well is because I feel like if I'd read this in the Victorian era, it might have had more impact. I definitely feel like there's something about the story that what kind of car? There's something about the story that just isn't aging well. And so, I want to fault, part of me doesn't want to make Chekhov totally at fault for this, because I did not enjoy this story at all. But part of me wants to see the value in the story. For me, I'm reading the story and I think, okay, what are the rules we're told as writers? We're told, don't make your character sit in front of a mirror and monologue. That happens in the story. I'm wondering if this story had so much impact, and it's like the precursor to all these literary rules that we're told not to do now. Don't have a dream sequence. Don't do that to your reader. Don't have an entire story and then the reader finds out it's a dream. That happens in the story. So I'm wondering if it's the precursor to all those rules.
Yeah.
It's funny listening to you say maybe it isn't a cautionary tale about be careful what you wish for, marriages and all it's chalked up to be. It's just life sucks. Maybe that's why it hasn't aged well, because a modern expression that we say nowadays is life sucks and then you die, right? If that's a takeaway of this story, that's probably why it's disappointing. But maybe there was a time when that wasn't something people had at the forefront of their mind. And then there's a part of me that's like, if you're going to tell me life sucks and then you die, what's the takeaway? Is it don't get married, don't have a life in which you make decisions and try to find a connection with other people? That's the part where then I think it falls flat. It's like, okay, now what?
I think it's more adding a dose of reality to her little wistful fairy tale princess dreams. I don't think the purpose of the story is to say don't get married because stuff happens. I think it's a case of whatever your dreams might be, there are other aspects of the reality which are perhaps not as pleasant. I'm not making an apology for it.
No, I know you're not, and I agree with you.
I completely align with Gerald.
Yeah, it just doesn't save the story for me, and that's probably my modern brain, where I'm like, we all okay, that's something that I feel like we all carry with us. At this point,
should we go ahead and rate it?
Yeah.
Should we go ahead and rate the story?
Yeah.
I feel so guilty rating this story. I feel really, really guilty because a Goodreads 3 is like good. Okay, so I can't give it a 3, so I have to give it a 2. I have to give it some merit, but I did not enjoy this story. I felt like it didn't age well. I felt like there were some significant problems with it, but I still don't know entirely if it's me reading the story through a modern lens. That's the problem. So I'm giving it a flat out 2. I got through it.
Because it's short.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
No quiet snark in the background there.
I don't know if I'm gonna give it a 2 or a 1, to be honest. Like, I feel like the only reason I'm gonna give it a 2 is because I'm like, but I know I like Chekhov, but that's not a reason to give a story a 2. And maybe
I feel the same way.
I know. Maybe if I had like read this when it first came out and we're not all constantly like bleak and dreary on the internet talking to people, it would be a story where I'm like, yeah, you know, life does suck. But being who I am, I guess, yeah, like this is a message that hasn't aged well because I feel like maybe there was a time when people didn't carry this with them as like a truth that they internalized, but now we do. Maybe we're more depressive nowadays. So yeah, I think it's a 1 because
I feel you. Like my entire religion is based on the
like, yes, life sucks, but you still do your best and try to lead your best life. So yeah.
Well,
1.
My rating has increased over the podcast for a change.
You're giving it a 1.
Yeah, it's moved into the positive. Now, I'm going to give it a 3, and I might have given it a bit more if it weren't for the ending. But I quite enjoyed it, and I quite. Yeah, I saw the you know the other side of the coin message that it was giving. So yeah, 3 for me.
I was gonna go with 2, so I'm sticking with 2.
Okay. There we are.
All right.
Poor Chekhov. We're gonna get so much hate mail for this, aren't we?
Yeah.
Mail@literaryroadhouse.com.
Do you actually get hate mail, by the way?
We've only gotten a couple.
Once. Like one.
No, we've gotten 2. One was a hate.
One was a review.
One was a
What was
review, a hate review. and one
Because
was
we
a hate
didn't like
mail.
Hemingway, the Hemingway fanboy. He
Yes.
didn't like a Hemingway story, and he was like,
And then
Yeah.
you guys got hate mail for a story that I will not name by an author that I will not name who emailed very
bad.
upset about how we rated their story.
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't.
but only 1. That's not bad.
Hey,
Yeah.
2 out of a year and a half. I think we got great record here.
Mhm.
I think it's only because
Truth.
Chekhov doesn't have email, so I think that's why. Otherwise, it'd be straight on there.
What,
Okay, game time.
Yeah.
Okay, the story I
What
am
are you
submitting. I am submitting Satan, Hijacker of the Planet by Lewis L. Erdrich.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Interesting title.
Yeah.
I picked it just for you, Remy.
All right. Let's see if we can win.
Okay, I'm going to go back to one I tried months ago, Bad Latch by Curtis Sittenfeld.
I'm going to go with the same one I went with last week, which is from Carving Gray, A Soldier's Final Draft.
All right.
Oh, thank God. We need some carb. I need a palate cleanser.
Who can guess what the game will be about?
If it's mirrors, I'm out of here. I'm out.
Yeah, that was actually my first thought, but I don't think there's enough to ask about game.
I don't know.
Anything else?
Marriages?
Dreams.
Okay,
Dreams.
that's fine.
Hear you guys.
Oh, wow.
Dreams.
Yeah. All right.
Oh.
So the first round will start it off easier. It'll just be true and false. Okay. So we'll mix it up. There's a little bit of every question type.
Okay.
All right. We'll start with you, Maya. Is that okay? You froze.
Not okay. Start with someone else. Oh, there she's back.
Oh, yeah.
She's back.
You good? Oh,
I'm here. I just can't hear
is
you.
it now better?
Type it.
Type it,
Type
but also
it.
say it out
You're
loud for
coming
the
in and out.
editing.
All right. So the first question
Yes.
is, and this is true and false. Men and women dream differently.
True.
Yes, it is true. Men tend to dream more about other men. Around 70% of the characters in a man's dream are other men. And on the other hand, a woman's dream contains almost an equal number of men and women. And men generally have more aggressive emotions in their dreams than females.
Wow.
All right. Gerald, also
Yep.
true and false. In our dreams, we only see faces that we already know.
True.
Yep. That is also true.
I feel like
Yeah,
I've made
and
up.
it might not be. Well, the explanation I read said something to the extent of, think about in the course of your life. You've probably seen hundreds of thousands of faces, and although you can't immediately recall them, they may be stored away in some repository of your mind and then accessed later during dreams.
I can immediately recall this one guy, suburb of Boston. He was buying soup. He was handsome as hell. I'll never forget that man. Continue.
Full story.
Anyway,
I'm just saying. Strangers to remember.
Things we learn about each other during the quiz.
Yes.
The things we learn about
One
each
guy,
other during
the
the
soup
quiz.
guy. He's forever soup guy in my head. We never exchanged words or a glance.
You
Nothing.
are engaged,
I've had a few of those.
aren't you? There should be one
Soup guy.
Soup guy.
Anyway,
try looking into a mirror, Anais.
all right. Yeah.
He'll
Yeah,
be there.
seriously.
Yeah.
Anais, you're true and false. Everybody dreams in color.
What?
Everybody, every human dreams in color.
No, this is false. I know about this. Right?
Great, and you're right. Yeah, some people just dream in black and white.
And
even
yeah.
if they're not blind, they're colorblind. Some people just. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, and that apparently people who think they dream in color, they're just filling in the colors afterwards.
Wow.
Like their mind fills in the colors.
All
How
right.
do you know that though?
Yeah, that's weird.
All right, Maya, how's the sound? Should I type this also?
Yeah, you should probably type it.
All right. This one you gotta fill in the blank yourself. On average, how many dreams do people have per night?
False.
Oh,
I don't see it. I don't see it in the chat.
The question was that hard.
I don't know
Just
what
like
the
I
question
quit.
was.
I'm out of here.
You have to type the question.
What
I
should
can't
I
hear.
do now? Give it to someone else? Or-
Yeah, give it
See
to
if
someone else.
she-
I can't hear
Let's
the
see if she
question.
comes on Slack. She might come on Slack. Just in case.
Was it- Didn't I have a question?
But you can just give her whatever question was for us when she comes back.
Yeah. All right. I guess, Gerald, you can take this.
Sure. On average, how many dreams do people have per night? I would say 10.
A little high. It's 4.
Oh.
All right. Anais. All right. Which planet in the solar system is considered the planet of dreams? And this is not counting Pluto.
Would it be Uranus?
Oh, dear.
We all turned into
Who
14-year-old boys for a
sniggered?
split second.
No, it's close to it, though. It's the
Neptune?
planet Neptune,
It's my second
which
guess.
is
but it was
named
no
after
joke.
the Roman god of the sea, and it's considered the planet of dreams because, like water, dreams distort and cloud images and meaning. And water also represents the depths of the unconscious and our emotional levels in dream imagery.
Wow.
All right.
Learning a
So,
lot today.
Maya, I'll give you this question. This one's multiple choice. So you actually you disappeared at an opportune time
Yeah,
because you
dodged a bullet,
avoided
yeah.
the fill-in. Now you get.
I didn't disappear. You guys disappeared.
No, the three of us are here,
Yeah.
so you count as the one having.
I can see me.
That's
She got typhus. No, she didn't get typhus.
all right.
Oh, screw you.
So this one, Maya, multiple choice. I'll type it just in
Okay.
case. Which philosopher asserted that dreams are the origin of the human soul?
Young.
Wait, I'll give you the multiple choice.
Okay.
So it's not Jung. It's
Yeah.
Immanuel Kant, Michel Foucault, or René Descartes.
Descartes.
Nope, it was Michel Foucault in an
I
essay,
should know
Dream,
that.
Imagination, and Existence. All right, Gerald.
Yep.
This one's also multiple choice. Which Native American tribe has an annual dream sharing festival in which they act out their dreams, either literally or in pantomime? Is it the Sioux, the Apache, or the Iroquois?
I would say it is the Iroquois.
And you would be correct.
Yay!
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right, and I used this one also multiple choice. Which U.S. president suffered from chronic childhood nightmares about paralysis that continued into his adult life? Was it Lyndon B. Johnson, Harry Truman, or Grover Cleveland?
Johnson?
Yes. Nice. I think you and Gerald are tied, right?
Mm. Yeah.
I'm not keeping score.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Neither is he.
Someone needs to.
I think because we kind of skipped around, so
I've only had 2 questions.
yeah,
I
so
won
this
one
is
and I
your
failed
third.
one.
Yeah, Maya. This is also multiple choice. In which culture's mythology were dreams called soul sleep because it was believed that the soul left and entered the physical body through the tear duct or the soul pit during the night? Was it Hawaiian, Mayan, or Japanese?
She froze again.
Type,
That's a
please.
long question.
Wow.
Can you type it?
Yeah.
She'll see it when she comes back if you type it. You see everything before?
Okay.
Yeah, Gail, she's doing it. So if you want to convince her otherwise, I have tried.
Oh, there we go. Mayan, she says.
Nope,
Maya, if you
it
haven't
was-
already said it, can you say Mayan?
She said Mayan. Oh yeah.
For the for the audio, I mean. Just say Mayan.
If she's here.
We just can't hear her, so.
Well, it's wrong, so we're gonna go to a tiebreaker.
Okay. Are we all tied?
No, just
What
you
was-
and Gerald.
What was the answer?
If she would have gotten that one right, she would have been
What was the answer?
Mayan.
She said Mayan.
Sorry, Hawaiian. Sorry,
Hawaiian. Ah, okay.
Okay, tiebreaker.
Tiebreaker.
All right.
Doo-hoo-hoo.
So this one, it's whoever comes closest. Between 0 and 100, what % of your dreams do you usually forget?
– 60%.
All right, Gerald, what do you think?
I would say less. I would say 40%.
Well, and I use this closer because it's actually more. It's 90%.
No.
Wow. Okay, I'm gonna do. I forgot to open the script again when everything crashed.
Oh.
Yep. Let me open this. There it is. Can Maya hear us?
I have no idea.
No, she's not in.
Okay. Okay, well, I'll just do the ending anyway.
Yeah.
Okay. So next week we are reading Bad Latch by Curtis Sittenfeld. But before you go, tell us your most intimate dreams in the comment section at literaryroadhouse.com. And please, good listener, we implore you, this is of the utmost consequence. Please leave a review on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spreaker. It's the only way our podcast will get even better. And if you're still dreaming of the perfect podcast community, don't forget to also listen to our other shows, the Literary Roadhouse Book Club and the Bradbury Challenge. Also, as Chekhov reminded us, eventually everything dies. But you can keep our podcast life going by sponsoring us at patreon.com/literary roadhouse. Every bit helps. As always, share this podcast with your dream spouse. Until next time, read a good story.
Great. Also, tell us what our story for next week is.
She did.
Bad Latch by Curtis Sittenfeld.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'm going to say, I'm just going to, in case Maya ever gets on and you have to get her answer. And so I'll say that it's incorrect and it's actually Hawaiian. So she'll say, pretend she said Mayan. I'll be like, nope.
I think she will.
It's Hawaiian. No, I mean for audio. All right.
Thank you for that.
I gotta go though. So I'll see y'all.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's yeah.
Bye, Rami.
Bye.
Okay, I'm gonna save
She's-
all of this.
yeah.
Thanks, Gail and Gabe, for listening and being so patient with all of our issues.
Yeah, she says that she won't let her back in. It's giving her an error message.
No, there she's trying again. My struggle was too real. You know what's going to be the worst? It's going to be editing this. That's going to be the worst.
Yeah. It was.
Yes.
It was an interesting podcast. Right.
Yeah.
Sorry, Maya. I'm out of here. Anyway.
Yeah, I got to go too. I'm hungry.
Okay.
Food
See
time.
You, Annie.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Gerald.
Listeners.
Bye.
Bye.
Gail, Gabe, bye.
Bye-bye.